Hello, BookTube. We're continuing with this random book tour that I'm doing of these random shelves in this random room in this random house. uh, and I apologize once again for any inconsistencies in the sound or the video or the speed of the upload. You know, one of the reasons why I am constantly buying new technology is because the technology I have in its abundance, I have, technically speaking, enough pieces of technology here to supply a classroom. One of the reasons why I'm always buying new technology is because the technology I have is constantly failing me. uh, we're going to try and get through this video, and it's bright and early on a sunny spring morning here in Boston. I'm going to try and get through this video without the equipment malfunctioning, with the audio and the visual being at least passable for a YouTube channel that doesn't care about audio and visual stuff. And then I will start the upload process, and I will hope that it's done by Monday. But anyway, let's continue with this. We're going to try and go all the way down to the bottom of this new bookcase that we're on, this wonderful rose-stained, custom-made bookcase, and then we'll move on to the bookcase in the corner, which is going to be a little bit of a logistical challenge for filming, since no technology wants to work. How am I going to film something that's in a corner? I'm not going to skip it, though. I'm determined now. This random book tour thing that was once a library video record now has me by the throat, and I have it by the throat, and only one of us will survive. So, speaking of survival contests, we'll start off with something I bet you thought you were done with. Did you think you were done with the Legion of Superheroes? No. No, you're not done with the Legion of Superheroes. This is a special thing, special hardcover that came out over 10 years ago. This is The Life and Death of Pharaoh Lad. We saw Pharaoh Lad briefly on a couple of covers that I showed you before. He's a human. His name is Andrew Nolan. He's a mutant. He is born not only with the ability to transform his body into superpowered iron, so think the X-Men Colossus, only this is what he was ripped off from, but also with a deformed face that is part of his mutation. And we're told that he wears an iron mask over his face because of that, which doesn't say much about the involved sensibilities of the 23rd century, which is when all these stories take place, that someone who's ugly not only can't get that fixed, but also needs to hide it. Where's the acceptance? Andrew Nolan could walk around today without his mask on. He'd be a celebrity. He's a member of the Legion of Superheroes, for Pete's sake. But anyway, this is a volume that DC Comics brought out about this character. It reprints all of the seminal stories in which he appears. There's a story in which he and 3 other candidates try out for the Legion of Superheroes, who are constantly recruiting new members. And then there's an adventure that he goes on with those other new members and with some established members of the Legion. And then there's the story in which a gigantic celestial creature is threatening Earth, and it's more powerful than any of our heroes. A bomb needs to be delivered into the heart of this thing and detonated in order to destroy it. And that will certainly kill whoever delivers the bomb. And Pharaoh Lad goes. He sacrifices his life. And that was a rare and amazing thing. It was a young writer named Jim Shooter who decided, apparently spur of the moment, to kill off one of the characters that he'd created. That had never happened before in a superhero story. that teenager or otherwise. No member of the Justice League ever dies, or if they seem to die, it's just a trick. It's a plot device. It's not real. So DC collected those issues into this cute hardcover volume, which is also in all of those archive volumes and in a couple of the other volumes that I have, including the huge omnibus volumes that we somehow haven't reached yet. And I look back on this fondly, not only because this was a primitive attempt at reprinting Legion stuff, but also because it's one of the very rare instances where a publicist from DC Comics got in touch with me. I got this thing in the mail back in 2008 or 2009, and that didn't often happen. It doesn't happen at all now. But anyway, that's one book. Then we have Transwise books. These shelves are a little bit deeper. They are deep enough so you can put stuff in front of them, but I don't have any double stack stuff. So we just have Transwise books on each of these shelves. The first of which is this lovely volume, The Fall of Numenor. One of these break-off Tolkien volumes that take all the stuff about a subject and bring them all together with spot illustrations and full-page illustrations by Alan Lee, who is a beloved Tolkien illustrator. This volume, I think, they're very nice volumes. I believe that the timing of this thing was probably meant to cash in on Amazon Prime's The Rings of Power, a large part of which takes place on the island of Numenor. You wouldn't recognize it. You wouldn't recognize it at all. There are a couple of names that are in common, but mostly not. You wouldn't recognize Numenor on that show, but that's only one of many things that you wouldn't recognize. Then we have another book that I just refound. I get copies of this and give it away. This thing, I admit, is a placeholder. I will find a hardcover of this with a dust jacket, but this is A Most Fortunate Ship, an oversized, heavily illustrated history of the USS Constitution, Old Ironsides. A great vessel from the age of sail that was responsible in a large part for American independence and for a lot of American belligerence on the open sea. And this is the story of that ship and under all of its different captains. And I found it as part of a nautical trove that briefly hove into view at the Brattle Bookshop. Whenever things like that happen, when a trove of some kind or other comes into view, I automatically go through a mental list of the things from a trove like that I might want. And I keep an eye out for them. I keep an eye out for things that I don't know. One of the things that when I saw that happen, I thought, well, I would really like a hardcover with a dust jacket of A Most Fortunate Ship. I'm assuming that such a thing was made. I don't think I've ever seen one. I've only ever seen this big trade paperback, which is taller than a normal book. But I didn't see the hardcover, but I grabbed this anyway. And same thing with this next one. This next one was also from that trove, and it was something that I didn't know existed, which I also try to keep an eye out for. This is Walter Lord, who wrote the best-selling account of the sinking of the Titanic, A Night to Remember. And this is a larger trade paperback illustrated version of A Night to Remember. So it's got the whole of the text, but with tons and tons of illustrations, people, diagrams, charts, everything. And that adds to the experience. It really does. The little mass market paperback of A Night to Remember, I don't think it had any pictures, but if it did, it had very few. And that little mass market paperback sold like griddle cakes. That made Walter Lord independently wealthy. And I like it. I've had that copy many, many times, but this is the one. I didn't know that it existed, but once I saw it, I thought, oh, perfect. So I grabbed that. Okay, then we have another book about bats. This is M. Brock Fenton. Either him or Merwin Tuttle are going to be the people that you're going to see. This is M. Brock Fenton, A Miscellany of Bats. This is a paperback reprint of a book, so it still has a pub sheet in it. This paperback reprint came out in January. So we got the advanced copy of this and the hardcover. I reviewed the hardcover, and then in January of this year, I got the paperback. I brought it in here because I thought, well, you certainly want it in here, and just did a cursory look, and of course, all the rest of the volumes are gone. They were sent out to one person or another. I think I remember sending out the finished copy to young parents who had a kid who was showing an interest in bats, and that's all it takes for me. I'm such a softie. For a pariah, an outcast, a leper, for a villain in the larger YouTube narrative, I'm quite the softie. Then we have a couple of Bibles. We have the New Jerusalem Bible that we were doing it for Psalm Sunday, and then the New English Bible. Again, these are in perfect condition with these plastic dust jackets, so I made sure to grab them. We have These Precious Days by Ann Patchett, a collection of essays that are really wonderful. They're really, really good. I was reading them as they were unspooling, and I think Harper's Magazine. I forget exactly where they occurred. I think it was Harper's. But most of them occurred there, and they are wonderful, especially the one, These Precious Days, the one that's called that. I love them. I like this author. I think, like a lot of people, I like Bel Canto, but I'd never read anything like this, and really, really enjoyed it. I think I found this at a library book sale. Okay, then we have this huge thing. This is by, it's edited by Michael Ruse and Joseph Travis. This is a gigantic thing, Evolution, the First 4 Billion Years. In trade paperback. I think I still have the pub sheet in here from when the good folks at the Belknap Press of Harvard University Press sent this to me. No, I don't still have the pub sheet, and I don't have the hardcover. I had the hardcover of this once upon a time. I wasn't consulting it quite enough, I thought, to warrant the hardcover, so I got rid of it. I think I sent it to one of you. And then Belknap sent me the paperback, which is fine. The paperback I'm perfectly happy to have on the shelf. Then we have, this is the Oxford History, Illustrated History of the Book. Just delightful. Takes you through all of the different manifestations of the book. In fact, if anything, this isn't complete enough. I was reading this and thinking, well, this is lovely and it's great to have it in illustrated form like this, but boy, there's a lot more ground that you could cover in a lot more depth than you're doing here. It was clearly meant to be a kind of a lightweight coffee table book of a kind. Then we have a kid's book. This is incredibly good. I absolutely loved it. I don't think I have a pub sheet for it. No, this is by John Hare, and this is called Field Trip to the Moon, where a young boy, he has his art kit, he has his crayons, he separates himself from his tour group in order to sketch a little. And he falls asleep, and when he wakes up, there are footprints. and it looks like he's been left behind by his tour group. It looks like they've all climbed out of the canyon and left him. And the interesting thing that he notices is that he's not alone. It's absolutely wonderful. Okay, then we have... this was the first book in a series. This is by Joel Sartori. He's the photographer. This is the first book in a series that he did. I have them all. They are amazing. They're amazing. They quiet you down a bit. They settle you because they are unbelievably somber in their way. This is called The Photo Arc. It's National Geographic, which accounts for the great production design. And in this book, the author invites, so to speak, a bunch of animals into a studio. These are not taken in the wild. He has a bunch of animals brought into the studio. See, there you can see that bison is standing there in a studio. He has these animals come into a studio here. I don't want to lose that. And he photographs them up close, just up close, in incredibly fine detail, to show you them, to show you who they are. And when you're reading this book, it doesn't take you more than maybe 5 pages, 6 pages, to stop saying what they are, and start saying who they are. It's amazing. It's just amazing. I'll make sure that I have all the stuff that I need here. Okay, let's put you back where you belong. Then we'll move on here. Okay, this is a graphic novel. This is the Classics Illustrated line that Marvel Comics revived and did for a while. Most of them are absolutely atrocious. But in the middle of all of that, in the middle of their whole revived Classics Illustrated run, used to be a very popular thing for comic books and also book publishers to do. Take a canonical classic, Call of the Wild, The Scarlet Letter, something like that, and do a comic book version of it. They did well. They distributed it in schools. I don't think these things did. I think these things were mainly a holdover. But at some point along the line, they got the admittedly weird comic book writer and artist, Bill Sienkiewicz, to do Moby Dick, to do an illustrated version of Moby Dick. And what they got is downright surreal. It is downright, it's beautiful. And it is weird. This is fantastic. One of my favorite versions of Moby Dick. And you get a huge amount of the book. Considering that, Sienkiewicz, like all artists, is a raving egomaniac, you would think that he would let his art crowd out the text, but he doesn't. Oh, fantastic. All right, next is another great artist. Bill Sienkiewicz is a great artist. And the same thing is true of P. Craig Russell. How to keep this impersonal. Well, P. Craig Russell is a terrific artist. He is an absolutely terrific artist. We have seen him on and off on this channel over the years. Who haven't we seen on and off on this channel over the years? Also saw him on Epic Comic Book Wednesday, when at Michael K. Vaughan's behest and urging and blackmail, we talked about Kill Raven, he of the Mankini. And this was, P. Craig Russell decided to adapt the Jungle Books by Rudyard Kipling. And the publisher eventually put them all together in a book with nice French flaps. And here we get, there is the King's Ankus, right? There's the guardian of the King's Ankus. Look at all this treasure guarded by the guardian of the King's Ankus, who does not realize how old he is. He does not realize how much time has passed. But this has everything else as well. This has how fear came to the jungle and Mowgli's brothers and all. And it is just wonderful. It's just wonderful stuff. There is Kaa, the rock python. And it ends with the song that Mowgli sings when he leaves the jungle. When he leaves his brothers of the wild, the bears and the bear and the wolves and whatnot. He leaves them behind for the human world. They have a very touching goodbye. And then he goes off to the human world. And P. Craig Russell draws it beautifully, just beautifully. Then what do we got here? Oh, okay, this is the Museum of Fine Arts here in Boston, a great art museum. I don't mean to slight it whenever I say that you absolutely have to go to the Guardian Museum. You do. They're right across the street from each other almost, so it's not hard to get in both of them on the same day. But the Boston Museum of Fine Arts is fantastic. And this was a catalog that they did, the Great Boston Collectors, which is the core of the library. Quite a few things in the library were donated or are on loan from non-Boston collectors. But the core of the library is Boston Collectors. And this has just everything. And the thing that attracted me to it is how many full-color reprints there are. A lot of times museum catalogs like this or exhibit showcases like this will have only a few full-color, really high-detail reproductions. And I want as many as I can get. Because I don't get to the MFA as much as I used to. Okay, then we have, well, this is art of another kind. This is art of another kind. This is Glorious Williams. This is 100 drawings. The very best of Glorious Williams, who was a New Yorker cartoonist, and I love New Yorker cartoonists. He also did a lot of other work. He illustrated lots of other people's books. And these are amazing. They are amazingly detailed. Just amazingly detailed. And this includes... he had a whole series that he did of events, of things that were happening. Let me see if I can find you one. They were really, really good. Let me see. Club Life in America, The Inner Man, but there was a whole series that he did that wasn't those. That was where he would dramatize one particular moment. I want to find you a really good one because they are so good. They unfold to your eyes as you're looking at them. Okay, well, I found one, but it's not the famous one. I'd like to find one that's famous. Well, maybe not. Maybe I won't be able to find one. But these are so amazingly good. They're just so amazingly good. But he did a series of cartoons where something happens and the cartoon immortalizes the moment right after. I'm amazed that I can't find one because they were famous. They were absolutely famous. Let's keep trying. I mean, I never guaranteed you interesting. There's like, for instance, well, not a lot of them are going to make a lot of sense to you, so maybe we should just stop. Let me see if I can find one. He hit it big. He used to do Club Life in America and all that sort of thing, and those were all popular. But then he hit it big with these immediate aftermaths. The most famous one being that doesn't appear to be in this collection is what happens when a bar of Dial soap sinks into a swimming pool. Because the Dial soap used to have this. Their campaign was that it was so light that it floated. So you would never have to hunt around for the bar of soap in the bathtub. All of that is long gone now. The appeal of a bar of soap that floats so that you don't have to hunt around for it in the bathtub on the bath that you took every other day or at the end of the week. That's all gone now. We live in the age of showers. But this is an example of it. This is the woman who snapped her purse during a pianissimo. And there we have the sound effect going up from her purse. But if you look carefully, you will see individualized reactions on the part of every single one of these people, going all the way back to the back rows. It unfolds to your eye. Glorious Williams was brilliant in that regard. And this is another one. This is the Glorious Williams book. because I not only collect the New Yorker cartoon collections, I also collect individual artists. Okay, well, this one has plenty of them. This, for instance, Industrial Crisis is what they were called. This is consternation at Heinz's, the ketchup company, when an inventory count reveals that they have been manufacturing 58 varieties for years. You have all of them trying to figure out what's going on. They're way up there on the shelves. They're counting on their fingers. They're using an abacus and all of this. Those are wonderful. I love how much detail goes into them. Oh, okay. Then we have another kids book. Great. Wasn't really remembering that I had saved this. Great. This is by Torben Kuhlmann, and this is Armstrong, the adventurous journey of a mouse who made it to the moon. And it's designed to look weathered. I didn't do that. The book did that. And this is about a little mouse in New York whose dream it is to get to the moon. And that's all that he wants. He wants to get to the moon. He makes elaborate plans. He listens in so that he can get details of elaborate plans. And he eventually, no spoilers, but he eventually does make it to the moon. And I'll leave you to get the book to find out if he gets there before or after humans do, but it is completely charming. And then we have, I've shown you this before, this is a hardcover collection from Lars Johnson. This is the Massachusetts Audubon Society, The Nature of Massachusetts. This was a column in the Boston Globe forever and ever. Not with full color illustrations, but it was a column. It takes you through sort of the year of various animals in Massachusetts and the various seasons. There is a timber rattlesnake in the Blue Hills Reservation. And it takes you through that year and describes these things in beautiful prose. And I have this, I found a copy of this in really terrible condition, and I just waited for the hardcover. I knew that I would find the hardcover. All right, so that is the whole of this shelf, and that took us quite some time. So I don't think we're going to do... I don't think I'll do a second shelf right now. I want to put all this stuff back, because otherwise it gets me thinking evil thoughts. Because this room is not going to survive in its present form. It is simply not. And I want to put all this back where it was in the meantime. Because all right, so I might do another. I would like to get to the bottom. Maybe I'll do 2 more library tours today, but this one's gone on long enough. And I'm worried about uploading. I'm worried about every aspect of technology now. I'm getting to the point where in a week or 2, I'm going to have to just invite you all over here in rotation instead of doing videos at all. I'm gonna finish this up, and then I will continue. I'd like to get to the end of this bookcase today, and it's just 2 more shelves. Maybe if I control my digressions, we can do that. Anyway, I'll wrap this up, and I will be back. Thank you, BookTube.